Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into something that's honestly incredibly exciting. We're laying out a complete step-by-step roadmap for the 2026 Level 3 Economics course. If you want to know exactly what the year ahead looks like, how the assessments flow, and how the concepts build on each other week by week, you are in exactly the right place. We're anchoring our journey today at Rutherford College. Their mission for this 2026 course isn't just about helping you pass tests, it's about fundamentally rewiring how you think. We're going to look directly at their actual calendar to see exactly how they plan to turn you into a highly strategic economic thinker over the coming academic year. So, here's our game plan for the year. First, we'll decode what Level 3 economics actually is. Then we'll move chronologically through Term 1's microconcepts, Term 2's market failure, Term 3's macroeconomics, and we'll wrap up with Term 4's NCEA exam mastery. Let's jump into Section 1. Decoding Level 3 Economics. Foundations for the Future. At its absolute core, Level 3 economics explores how individuals, businesses, and governments actually make decisions in a wildly complex and changing economy. You're not just going to be staring at lines on a graph here. You'll be using real economic models alongside real-world New Zealand examples to analyze both microeconomic and macroeconomic issues. So, why does all this matter? Well, beyond obviously preparing you for those NCEA assessments, this course is designed to seriously level up your critical thinking, analytical, and evaluation skills. It provides a phenomenal foundation for tertiary study. If you're eyeing a career in economics, business, finance, public policy, or really any related field, mastering this content is your absolute stepping stone. Moving right along to Section 2, Term 1, Microconcepts, the individual and the business. I want you to imagine taking a camera lens and zooming all the way in on single consumers and individual businesses. That's Term 1. You'll kick things off on January 30th, getting routines sorted, and by February, you're deep into demand, elasticity, and utility. It's a really tight, focused progression that builds directly toward your microconcepts internal assessment, which you'll need to hand in by exactly 4 p.m. on Friday, March 20th. Now, once that internal is out of the way, a massive question emerges for the final weeks of the term. How exactly do consumers and producers find balance? And that question pivots us directly into Standard 9139. Late March into early April is all about laying down the essential groundwork for understanding market equilibrium. We're talking demand and supply basics, market forces, and looking at how curve shifts create changes in surplus. It's the perfect setup for what's coming next. Which brings us to Section 3, Term 2, Market Failure, When Things Go Wrong. Okay, this is where we get into the real friction of economics. What happens when those beautiful, perfect models don't quite work out in reality? Looking at the actual course calendar for Term 2, you can see it's neatly split. The first half continues with market equilibrium, and then we take a sharp left turn right into studying market failure. During the first 4 weeks, you're getting equipped to analyze government interventions. Think maximum and minimum pricing, taxes, subsidies, tariffs, quotas, the whole 9 yards. It's highly practical stuff, and it culminates in a crucial end-of-topic test in week 5. But don't stress, all that preparation is going to pay off. So, with government intervention under your belt, we have to ask the next logical, pivotal question. What happens when markets just completely fail? Because let's face it, markets are absolutely not perfect. Standard 91402 tackles this head-on. From week 7 onward, you'll be exploring the negative and positive externalities of both consumption and production. And what's really amazing here is how Rutherford grounds these abstract theories in the real world. In week 9, there's actually a planned trip to Waihee to study the negative externalities of production out in the field. How cool is that? All of this hands-on learning drives straight toward your major internal write-up, which is due Thursday, July 2nd at 4 p.m. Before we jump to the next term, let's do what I like to call the zoom. Terms 1 and 2 were all microeconomics. We resumed completely in on individuals, specific markets, and consumer utility. But as we cross over into the second half of the year, resuming all the way out, we're shifting our lens to macroeconomics, looking at New Zealand's economic situation as a whole. All right, Section 4, Term 3, Macroeconomics, the big picture. In Term 3, your perspective completely expands to take in the entirety of the national economy under Standard 91403. Week 1 starts with the circular flow model. By week 2, you're scaling up to aggregate demand and supply and the business cycle. And then by week 3, you're mastering the multiplier and the foreign exchange model.
But here's the thing. You aren't just memorizing abstract models here. From week 4 right through week 7, you're going to apply these frameworks to massive, real-world macroeconomic issues. You're analyzing inflation and monetary policy, digging deep into international trade, evaluating economic growth, and dissecting unemployment. It's all about understanding the massive headline forces that are literally shaping New Zealand today.
And you're definitely going to need a firm grasp on those forces because Term 3 wraps up in weeks 9 and 10 with the all-important senior exams. This is your major checkpoint to test your mastery of these huge macroeconomic concepts before we head into the final push.
Which leads us to our final section. Term 4, NCEA Exam Mastery, the final stretch. This is where everything you've learned shifts into pure execution mode. Weeks 1 through 4 are dedicated entirely to intensive revision and crushing past papers to really refine your technique. Then, from week 5 through 7, it's showtime. The official NCEA exams commence. Now, through all those tough weeks of revision, it's vital to remember why you're doing this in the first place. The syllabus itself notes that this course provides an excellent foundation for tertiary study and careers in economics, business, finance, public policy, and related fields. The hard work you're putting in right now is literally unlocking those future pathways for you. So, as you prepare to tackle this journey through Rutherford College's 2026 calendar, I want to leave you with one final thought to chew on. How will mastering these complex economic decisions shape your future career and ultimately your understanding of the world around you? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and get ready for a seriously incredible year of learning.